Live from Los Angeles. Welcome to Good Morning La La Land. I'm Dr. Erin.
I'm Rob Mack.
And I'm Jasmine Moye, co-host of Good Morning La La Land, streaming to you live Monday through Friday on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and now on Twitter.
And it is all about Motivation Monday. And today we've got a great show, an incredible show, because this month is all about wealth. We have a 30-day challenge around wealth, and we wanted to celebrate not only our birthday, because it really is our birthday here at Good Morning La La Land, but we want to celebrate our true wealth, which are our guests. We've got 4 incredible inspirational guests of their interviews, and we want to share those with you because we feel like that is our greatest motivation and our greatest inspiration.
Is our community. What a wealth we have. I'm so excited for our birthday week here at Focus TV.
We are rich in relationships.
Yes, we are. Especially Lillian Garcia. I mean, she has been chasing glory. I love her podcast. I find her so inspiring. We had her featured on the cover of the Focus magazine. What a light she is, right?
Absolutely. Strong, sexy,
Speaking
talented.
of strong and sexy, Lori Harder, you picked her up in the gym. She makes transformation fun.
Yes.
I mean, she is an incredible, obviously, Mia Sanchez, Miss USA, teaching universal confidence. And Daniel Hall, dear friend of mine, and he is so young and restless.
They're quite some hotties too, right?
They are. It's a beautiful cast of folks there.
I love that they're each using their platforms to motivate people to give back to their communities, to really celebrate true wealth in their lives.
Absolutely, and part of that personal brand for each of them is authenticity and connection. I mean, clearly all of them are great connectors. I mean, you feel the moment you meet them, you feel a connection with them.
Right. So speaking of authenticity,
Yeah.
I'm curious to know, you guys. Here we are. It's our birthday, and I want to know. Of course, we always talk about motivation. We try and stay very positive, but I want to get a little real and raw today.
Getting real
like,
raw.
how has it been for you guys? Because I don't know about you guys, but I definitely have had my ups and downs through, beginning the show and everything else. It's been incredible, epic, all majorly more positive than anything. But there has been moments where I'm like, oh my God, what did I get myself into?
Yeah.
Like we got to schedule out when we can, jump out of LA and stuff, right? It's not as easy. And there's moments where I'm like, what the hell are we doing? Like, how has it been for you guys?
Yeah, it's a continual process of managing my expectations, because I remember at the beginning we were like, oh, it's just a couple hours. And now I'm like, this couple hours have bled into hours and hours and hours. So I think that's part of it. The other part of it for me is 3:45 a.m. was rough. 3:15 is downright disastrous.
Why do you do this to yourself?
How's that working? Are you think you're gonna do this long term?
Yeah. I mean, it's just a question of, like, once I make a commitment, I won't turn back. So
No wonder
up to
you're
me
not
fully.
committed in a
That's why I will
relationship.
not commit. Listen, I will not commit to something fully ever unless I'm all in. So I've been all in. 3:15 is not a big deal, even though I joke about
So
it.
you really think you're going to sustain this?
I already have.
Wow.
Months and months
I'm
and months.
impressed.
Yeah, not a problem. What about you, Jess?
Well, I said from the beginning I was not a morning person. And this show has made me a morning person. Certainly the most difficult and challenging thing for me has been the wake up time. Not at 3:15, but really like just waking up and feeling my best self. And this show has given me a reason and a purpose to do that. Of course, now I drink more coffee than ever. Thank you so much, La
we
Cologne, for keeping me caffeinated, because
love.
I really, truly do need it. I'm fueled by it. Like I am fueled by the community and the relationships that we're building. That's been the most priceless thing about this journey of Good Morning La La Land, is the incredible people who have come through these doors at Focus TV Studios and who have shared their time, shared their talent, shared their light with us. And to have a platform for that is the best gift I've ever been given.
Yeah, Andy, our producer, I think that one of the gifts that he's brought, and kind of the thing that Focus TV has taught me so much, is the relationships. And it's something I've always known, that relationships are the most valuable. But I think it's like the show's been almost like, I say, like when you write a book, the book writes you. I feel like this show and Focus TV is writing me, in that it's developing me in ways that I didn't know. Like there's things coming out of the relationship. And I think that what's fascinating is witnessing the guests that come on, because they've all been amazing, and then some have been extraordinary in their ability to network with us, bring more guests in, like they go the extra mile, and you see why. You're like, oh, no wonder they're successful, and you witness what they're up to, right?
Absolutely. And when they go that extra mile, you feel it comes from the most generous place possible. Like, you don't feel any expectation of reciprocity from any of them. Like when I talk to an Ariane, or I talk to a Lori, or or Nia Sanchez, I mean, those folks are doing things out of the kindness of their heart because they like doing it and they just want to be helpful.
We are hashtag community powered here.
Yes, we are. Love focused.
So cute.
Yeah.
So, anything else you want to cover before we go on to these 4 amazing interviews? There's silence. We never have silence very often. It's like crickets in here today.
Just that, how grateful I am for the 2 of you, for the incredible team that we have. I'm really grateful for it.
And shout out to Victoria Simone, who does all of the editing, a lot of the executive producing. We appreciate her so much, along with Andy, of course.
Of course.
The relationships that we appreciate so much aren't just the folks that we bring in as guests, but also the family here at Focus TV. We consider all these folks part of the family. We couldn't do any of it without them.
Felicia, Zoe.
For sure, right?
Yes.
Absolutely.
And even beyond, even though it's Good Morning La La Land, this is a community that is worldwide. It's actually been something we've really had to focus on. And this is really about people that are up to positivity, making a difference, and having their dreams come true. Because LaLa is a universal word. La La Land is really about believing in your dreams, believing in that you can make a difference, and believing in all of us. So stay tuned, you guys. We are going to head back to these incredibly inspirational and motivational guests today. Enjoy the ride as we will. Live from Los Angeles, welcome back to Good Morning La La Land. We are thrilled to have Nia Sanchez, who is Miss USA 2014.
Yes.
Thank you so much for taking time out of this incredible morning. How are you?
I am good. I'm excited to be here. You guys are amazing. I was listening to you talk earlier and love everything that you were sharing.
Oh, well, we're so excited to hear about your personal transformation. We read up a lot on you, and you have just an incredible story about helping empowering women.
Thank you.
Yeah. So
Let's
tell us a little bit about it.
Take it from the beginning.
Well, oh my
Born
goodness.
Miss USA.
If we want to go all the way back.
All the way back.
I mean, I definitely have had a life that has a lot to do with transformation. I had the very typical American, childhood. My mom, my dad, me, and my brother. And then my world kind of turned upside down when my parents got divorced. It wasn't a super typical divorce. My mom moved myself and my brother into a women's shelter because she didn't have any income or anywhere to go, so we lived there for a while, and it was really hard especially at such a young age, to just you go from your comfort zone to nothing is comfortable. You don't really connect with anything around you.
But that's amazing. I don't think very many people, did they know that when you were in Miss USA, that you were essentially homeless for?
Yeah, it's something that I finally became able to share. It was very hard to share for a while, but going from that world and then being raised by my dad, who ended up being raised by my dad, and he was in the military and then worked in a prison, so very strict and structured. And it was this very just disciplined world, and I kind of got the best of both worlds, and I was able to take that, which I didn't always like, especially as a teenager. I wanted my freedom,
right?
And having the life experience at a young age to be able to use that for my success. So I feel like a lot of people, either when you have a hardship or something hard in your life, it can tear you down or it can help build who you are, and it was definitely something that helped build who I was.
That's incredible. I was raised by a dad too who was in the military. He used to always make us salute him.
Oh yeah.
Front and center, we'd salute him.
Yes, sir, all of that.
Yeah, that was really onto the saluting thing.
Absolutely.
And, so now, as an adult, how do you feel that's positively influenced your life? Because you're very disciplined, you get to the gym early, but what would you say was the greatest sort of benefit from that experience?
Well, I definitely learned how to be aware of my surroundings, that's for sure. I'm my dad's only daughter, and so having a girl working in the prison and having come from a strict background himself, he taught me to be really aware of my surroundings. And I mean, there's times when I would get home from work and I'd be sitting in the driveway texting my car at 11 o'clock at night. My dad would call me and I'd be like, what is he calling me about? He said, do you see that guy in the hoodie standing behind your car? And I'd be like, no, but, and I would freak out, and he'd be like, yeah, he's not there, but he could be. And
oh
he
my gosh.
You. And I was like, oh, it's like, that's my dad. But from that now, I feel like I'm such a strong, confident, aware person because my dad almost scared it into me, but it's really been a benefit for me.
Hence your work in defense for women?
Yes, absolutely. So I have trained in Taekwondo my entire life, as well as Jiu-Jitsu and Muay Thai, and martial arts and self-defense overall. I love the beauty of martial arts, but I've transformed that into self-defense classes for women. So I do that on my own, just it's individual self-defense class, but I also incorporate it into Universal Confidence, which is a women's empowerment class overall that I teach.
Are you still practicing Taekwondo?
I have to. I don't do it as regularly as I used to, but I'm the Goodwill ambassador for Taekwondo. They flew me to Korea. I met the president of South Korea. I was
Well, and you have
honored with that title.
four black belts.
Fourth degree black belt.
Fourth degree.
Yeah.
Okay. What does that
yeah.
mean, fourth degree?
It means that I've trained a long
She's
time.
gangster with it.
Oh yeah.
And that I can break
not upset her.
forms and don't mess with me. That's what it means. No, I've put in 20-something years of training into martial arts.
Incredible.
So, yes.
Breaking stereotypes and breaking boards.
Exactly. I mean, women can be beautiful and strong and confident in so many areas of their life, and you don't just have to have one or the other. And I feel like I know a lot of women in the martial arts self-defense world that are just like this strong woman, and they don't feel like they can have the balance, but you can.
And so now you've woven this all together in the confidence universe.
Universal confidence.
And so what is that exactly? It's for women.
Yes, it's a workshop for young women, and we're all about building confidence in multiple areas of your life. So I have a business partner. She's in Australia right now, where she's my counterpart, but she is really training in that health and wellness area, and I've trained in the self-defense. So we cover multiple topics. We talk about relationships, healthy social media, which is very important. Where does confidence come from, and how do you build it when you don't feel like you have it, as well as we teach the self-defense and the healthy body image.
I think it's really important that you're teaching how to build that. How do you personally maintain that for yourself? You know, you mentioned social media. There's haters, there's criticism.
Yeah.
How do you do that
And
for yourself?
comparison.
Oh.
As women, I feel like we do that quite often.
Naturally.
Some of the things that we recommend doing to help build your confidence, especially when you're having a down day or you don't feel like you are just confident in the moment, is having a mantra. That's something that always encourages you towards your goal. You guys have mantras, right?
Oh my goodness, we have a show mantra.
Okay.
Yes.
What is it?
Love is the only truth.
I love that. So good.
What's your mantra?
Mine is perhaps you were born for such a time as this, and Esther 4:14, but it just reminds me in every single moment that I'm there on purpose and I'm there for a reason. So even if I'm not feeling it and I'm not loving it, that there is a bigger purpose in the moment. But we talk about that, speaking positive affirmations to yourself, finding your quiet time, which you guys were kind of talking about, is having that time to yourself to really come back to your center and knowing who you are, and using those things and more things you can build towards confidence for sure.
When you mentioned positive affirmations, how do people create that for themselves, or where do people find those affirmations for themselves?
So something we talk about is that little voice in your head. We call it the mean girl voice. And everyone has it, sometimes depending on your background.
Girl.
Right?
Yes.
We don't like her. Mine's Felicia. And every time she comes in, I'm like, bye, Felicia. I ain't got time for you. So it's learning to recognize that voice. And when that voice comes in, speaking the opposite. So if it's, you're not beautiful, you can't do it, it's literally acknowledging that voice, quietly asking her to leave, and then speaking something positive over it. So that's like one way to train yourself with positive affirmations.
I love the Felicia thing. I've got a friend who calls it the inner crackhead.
Oh my
He's
God.
always looking for a fix, you know?
Yes, it's so funny, but you give that mean girl a name, and then you just recognize her, and then you quietly have her leave and give yourself positive words
That's
instead.
so funny, because I would have felt crazy giving her a name.
Right.
But now that's acceptable. So I'm going to call her Gina.
Okay. Bye, Gina.
Yeah, Gina. Because I call my GPS Gina because I like alliteration. So Gina, the GPS, who always makes me feel like I'm recalculating, right? That's how I feel like.
Right.
She always has me spinning. I'll be doing fine, and then she's got me spinning, right? So goodbye, Gina. I'm
Gina.
going to speak some new truth into my life.
There we go.
I love that. So I'm sure there's many viewers, women and men. What kind of tips can you give them? Obviously beyond the affirmations and whatever, but what other things do you do in your life that, do you work out every day? What do you do?
I think having some type of routine that motivates you towards your goals is really important. So for me, like I mentioned earlier, I like to wake up early, have my quiet time in the morning with a cup of tea. I don't drink coffee, but a cup of tea, read a book, something that motivates me, then getting to the gym and getting those positive endorphins flowing, and then starting on my work day. So it's having a healthy routine in the morning, whatever that is for you. meditation's so good. You can meditate in the morning.
wonderful, right?
Something that motivates you towards your goals and kind of keeps you on track and sets you up for a successful day.
It's so wonderful, and thank you so much. We're running out of time a little bit, but where can they find you? What are you up to? How can they find and get involved in the confidence?
So 2 ways. Me personally, it's Real Nia Sanchez, which I know you guys had up there somewhere. And then it's universal.confidence is all of our social media.
Oh,
so
interesting, okay.
Real Nia Sanchez on all of my social media and universal.confidence.
And where can they, is there a website for Universal Confidence?
We are building it at the moment. It's kind of under construction. So as of now, Instagram is the easiest way to connect with us. We have all the connection right there.
Everybody ends back on Instagram anyway, so
always
maybe
do.
just save your time.
Right? Keep it there.
That's fine.
Keep it focused.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Such a pleasure. I'm so grateful you came in.
Thank you so much for having me.
And where are you going to have the courses? Is it going to be all online, or where is that going to be?
Well, with the reconstruction of our website, we're building it online so you can access us from anywhere in the world. Currently, our workshops are traveling the U.S. We have different locations, but we've done them everywhere. Mexico, Costa Rica, Bali, Australia. We've done workshops all over the world. So it's definitely international, and everyone can connect with it.
Well, next time there's a workshop in Southern California, count me in.
Let's do it.
Right?
Sounds good.
We'd love for Good Morning
Doesn't need
LaLa to be
confidence.
involved for sure.
Absolutely.
Lovely, lovely work. Thank you so much for your
Thank
time,
you.
and thank you for everything. So when we come back, we're going to talk to an amazing coach about transforming through the body, mind, psychology, and how to transform your life and everything else.
Welcome back to Good Morning La La Land. We are live with Daniel Hall. I am so excited to have you here.
I'm excited to be here.
I'm feeling so young and restless. What can I say?
Oh, see what you did there? So Daniel and I go way back to the first days
Way
when we
back.
were like schlepping it in Hollywood at the Roosevelt Hotel
yeah,
together.
yeah, I was bartending and she was a host, I think.
Yeah, I was hosting, and you know, we both came to LA, obviously, with a dream, and so it's so exciting to be able to witness your journey, walking down the grocery store lane, and then there's this.
Hello.
So from behind the bar at the Roosevelt Hotel, and the the days and the nights that we were slipping away only with dreams. Now you are starring in Young and the Restless, and I have a talk show to have you on to come talk about it.
Well, look at you. Look at you. We've come a long
Right?
way.
Cheers to
Good
that.
morning.
You know, that's
Good morning.
Only in La La Land.
That's part of what we love about the community that is La La Land, is the people that come here with a hope and a dream. We came here for a purpose.
And a prayer.
Yeah, and
Dream and
it
prayer.
hasn't been always easy or glamorous by any stretch of the imagination, but you made it happen.
Right?
Yeah, making it
Congratulations.
happen, making it happen. I feel like
Making it
you're
happen.
always in the present of going somewhere.
But
I think
not
if
enough,
if you feel like you've made it, then you never feel like you have anywhere to grow, and I think that's important. So
So the original Daniel Hall.
that's my Instagram handle.
It
yeah.
is. It is. Before you were Scott Granger.
Yes.
Where were you from, and what brought you to LA?
I'm from Connecticut, and I came to LA. I went to University of Michigan first, and I went back to New York to do theater. I was like, you know what, I'm only going to be a theater actor. I'm going to drink coffee and study Shakespeare and make a living that way, which was kind of unrealistic. And I didn't realize that years later. I was in New York 10 years, did a lot of theater, and then I did some guest stars on Law & Order, Guiding Light, to throw some soap history out there. Did about 5 episodes on that. It was a small role. But then I realized that New York didn't have as many opportunities for the actor as LA did. So I finally made the trip out here. I thought Hollywood was a little too glitz and glam. I was like this theater guy. And I realized I wanted to make a living acting. And so I came to LA, and the first 3 years were really difficult making a living. You got to get that survival job. And that's where I met Jeslyn. She's at the
We were
Roosevelt. I mean, I
surviving.
was strapped, and I was like, good Lord. And we bartended and worked together for at least like a year and a half. At least.
Yeah, a couple years.
Yeah, a couple years.
That place
Yeah.
is about as LA as you can get. So LA.
You're on
So did
Hollywood
you-
Boulevard. I mean,
yeah, right?
you've got what's that guy? It's the Superman icon who comes in. He was stumbling off the street. I mean, these guys are the crazy, sort of fun characters that are on Hollywood Boulevard. They just come into your lobby, which was your bar. We served in the lobby. So you'd have guys come in who are like playing music, and they'd have to get tackled because they were sometimes inebriated, and they would come in and get a little drunk, and we'd have this amazing security staff
And
take care
next
of
thing
them.
you know, Matthew McConaughey would be sitting
McConaughey
at
would
your
then suddenly
bar.
be there, yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Yeah.
Angelina Jolie's having lunch, and then there's
The late
Bob.
Adam West came and had one of the best conversations with me, and I asked him, I said, what's the most exciting part of your career? He said, it's the way up, my friend. He said, once you're there, it's sort of like you're like, this is it, huh? It's not as exciting as you may have dreamed it to be.
Wow.
But he said his most fun he's had is truly being when he was on Family Guy. He loved playing the mayor on Family Guy. So he loved that. I couldn't believe it. I was like, Batman, really? He's like, honestly, I have so much fun because he gets to be against type. He doesn't have to be the smooth like Batman character. He now gets to be this goofball mayor who's like kind of an oddball.
Right. So now on in this little cute magazine, you say how you have to read like so many lines every day on the show.
Yeah.
And you talk in here, you say that you do 20 minutes of where you play classical music or you do different things. What do you do to get prepped for?
I found the 20-minute thing. I found that was the amount of time that my brain could stay focused on memorizing at a time. So I would do 20 minutes with classical music. I find the classical music, I've heard through grapevine, my mother also told me a lot about it, that it helps sort of distract the part of your brain that distracts you. So if you're listening to music, that part of you doesn't hear other things. You're just in like a zone. 20 minutes is about all I can handle, so I do 20 minutes, then I take 5 minutes off and do something else, grab a cup of coffee or tea or something like that. I don't drink caffeine, so it's tea. And then I come back to it. But I really, you can't sit down and just cram memorize. It's like doing a test. You can't cram, it doesn't work, you need to sleep on it. But sometimes we don't have that luxury. So sometimes you are cramming dialogue, and there are rewrites and things like this. And
it's a fast and furious life when you're working on a soap opera.
It's fast. It's less furious, but more definitely fast. It's intense, yeah.
I mean, your very first episode on the show.
Yes.
When I say fast and furious, I mean that was intense.
My intro to Scott Granger is he is being held captive in somewhere in the Middle East, and he's being rescued by a guy he barely knows, who's actually ends up being his stepbrother. But he's not sure if he wants to go with him because he doesn't trust anybody at this point in his life. But this is my first day on the set. I'm beaten. I'm emotionally damaged. I haven't eaten or drunk anything for like months. And he's just starved and just totally rags. And then that's my first day on the set. And you walk in and that's, all right, ready? Let's do this. They do one little quick rehearsal with it and good to go.
Were you nervous?
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. I mean, absolutely. It was like first day of school plus you had to take a test. You know what I mean? It felt like that a little bit.
Right.
But,
And now it's been almost a year.
It's been almost a year. The crew and cast made me feel really welcome, though. So that first day was just like that, first day jitters, and then they really brought you in as family. And my friend, when I got this job, he's like, "You're going to be part of this family. You become part of the family. It is a family on a show like that."
So when you have more and more of a family, because imagine now out in the world, it's probably hard to know who is authentically your friend versus not.
You do get a little bit of that, yeah. I think it's important to not lose focus on the idea and lose perspective that you are still just a person, and I never see myself as being any sort of celebrity or any sort of that, even though people recognize me, people stop you, and it's flattering at this point in my career, and I think it always will be, because I kind of have been, I'm almost, I'm in my late 30s, so it's not like I'm a spring chicken. I've been struggling with this for a long time, so when it does happen, it feels great. It feels really nice. I'm not at the place where it's annoying, where someone's like, "Can I take a picture with you?" I'm like,
validating.
"Yes." I always say, "Thank you. Thank you for stopping and doing that. That makes me feel really good." Yeah.
Did you ever want to quit?
Oh yeah. I mean, I think every year I want to quit acting because it's really hard. You get to these places and suddenly you get shoved back down. You book a big job, your piece gets edited out. You shoot a commercial, it's going to be this big campaign, and the thing goes only to the internet, and you make $1,000 for what you thought was going to be a house money. You know what I mean? And you don't get any of that.
How do you get through that? How do you persist?
Family, friends. It's been really important that my family is also in the entertainment industry in a sense. They're musicians, and they've been supportive since day one. And if I ever had anything like, you can always just come back, we'll take care of you. I was like, that scared me, so I was like, no, I'm not giving up. But they were like,
think it's motivating sometimes.
Keep going. And they always say, I'm so proud of you to persevere and keep going. He's like, I gave up. My dad didn't give up, but he had a family, and it changes things. He's like, "Man, you are doing the dream, and I'm so proud of you." And it's like he gets to live a little bit through that, and it's awesome. Yeah.
I remember I just watched Jim Carrey's documentary of the Man on the Moon, and he talks about this. He says, "I watched my dad give up on his dreams to sacrifice for the family, and he failed in some ways there, so he goes, I might as well go for my dreams," and
Yeah.
So what was your kind of darkest hour for you? Like, has there been anything that was really, really tough?
When I first moved out here, I was strapped. It came up about $1,000, and I thought it was going to be easy. I thought I was going to be able to grab a bar job, because in New York there's so many bars. Here there's way less bars. Maybe that's because there's less people drinking, but I don't really think so. I think it's just more at their homes. They do it privately here.
Closet drinking.
It was hard. Yeah, closet drinking. It was hard to get a bar job. I realized they wanted pretty girls behind the bar, and I was like, I get it. But I was like, I'd been bartending a long time. I thought it'd be easy. I'd been bartending 10 years at that point. I have a lot of skill with that, and it was hard. So I had no money. I spent the money. Luckily, a good friend of mine let me stay at his house for like a couple months. And then that kind of got old. So he was like, all right. I slept in his car for like about a month. And my parents were like, I can give you a little bit of money. I was like, but that all it's going to do is put a Band-Aid on it. I can't even get an apartment with that, you know what I mean? It would just extend the process of like living like that. And I got a voiceover. So I booked a national commercial voiceover. Then I got the job at the Roosevelt all in the same week. And it was just like,
Wow.
okay,
Wow.
maybe this is where I'm meant to be. And then it just started growing.
So you lived in a car for a month.
Slept in a car for a month, yeah.
Wow.
After I wore out every friendship's couch I could. I mean, you can't stay places too long.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
I
That's
really
amazing.
admire your tenacity and your drive that you didn't give up. And now you're in a position where you have this platform to really give back and you're making a difference in the community. You're really heavily involved in a lot of different charities.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I'm only doing what my friends are doing as far as Art of Elysium is really one of the biggest charities I volunteer for and work with. And I was just there this Saturday at a gala, the John Legend Heaven Gala, which is awesome. He's an incredible person, period.
Tell us about it.
So, first of all, it was the biggest red carpet I've ever even walked on. I mean, it was like big celebrities
Like
were
a
there.
real red
Joaquin
carpet, 'cause
Phoenix,
in LA, they're like
no, I
just
mean, anybody could have a piece of red carpet on the sidewalk. But this was like a legit one. I've never had that many cameras flashing, and it was awesome. But there was one amazing photographer who was there who recognized me and knew me. So when she's like, Daniel, I was like, oh. I ran over to hug her because it made me feel so warm and welcome on the carpet. Because it's a weird feeling. I think a lot of even big celebrities will go out there, and it's uncomfortable to be like smiling and having the posture and which angle do I look right from? Oh yeah, I got to get this Versace thing that they lent me out there, you know. Right. So, but the evening was amazing because Art of Elysium, what they do is they bring the arts and talented people in the industry to give back to kids who are, a lot of them are terminally ill. A lot of them are, so we go to Kaiser hospitals and we walk in and out of the rooms. Each day we see what's on the wall as far as who's in the room. Sometimes we have to put on masks or full, you know, coveralls because their immune systems are so far gone that you can't even be in there if you have even a cold. Wow. And we go in and we do games with them or whatever they're up for that day, and we try and bring them a sense of control for that 1 minute that they get to make a decision for that, maybe we're in there 10 minutes. Because the rest of the day they're being told, here, you take this shot, you do this, you go to sleep now, you take, you know. So we give them a sense of like feeling like they're empowered for that bit. So that's what Art of Elysium really does, and they're a full-on charity. And like, I don't know how much they raised, but I'm sure a lot of money because they had some pretty big hitters there. And Stevie Wonder and Common got up with John Legend and did their big song that they won. I think they won an Oscar for. Wow! So it was a really amazing night.
So I have a question for you because I'm sure the viewers want to know this. What is your regime as far as health, and what do you do? Like, how's your morning start? All that good stuff.
Yeah, my morning now has been usually hibiscus tea, so unsweetened, just straight flour, in the hot water, lemon juice, cayenne pepper. And that sort of gets the blood moving. I can't drink caffeine. It makes me nuts. So I love the taste of coffee, but I can't do it. It makes me like kind of crazy. So I do that to start, and I do that first, and I have usually egg whites and with 1 egg in it and some spinach. And I like a breakfast salad, believe it or not. And a lot of times I eat bacon. I like bacon, but now I've got a little bit of a high cholesterol, so I gotta lay off the bacon. Now I have omegas in the morning with my eggs instead of bacon. Yeah, so I've been trying to live a healthy lifestyle. I hike a lot. I go to the gym, I box. That's the best workout. If anybody ever wants to get a quick six-pack, it's boxing.
So when
Mayweather's
you're not
opening
on
a
set,
Oh my God, yeah.
you're boxing.
But boxing is a good way to get your, believe it or not, your blood pressure to go down. I think 'cause you get that out, and then you can it's that same thing we were talking about. How you from tension you kind of can find even more ease in your body. And I had a little bit of high blood pressure, and I was talking about the holy basil, the herb. So I've been trying a lot of like acupuncture and things like more Eastern medicine. I feel like I don't want to take medication. I did as a kid. I had ADHD and all that, and so I tried medications, and you don't feel like yourself. So no, I mean nothing wrong with people who want to take it, and it helps them. Awesome, more empowering. But for me, it didn't work. So I'm trying to find ways to be more healthy as far as natural and homeopathic.
And do you feel like yourself now?
Most of the time, but I think that's why a lot of actors like acting, is because it's nice to get out of your own skin. Because oftentimes that's when we're most uncomfortable, is actually being ourselves. I think that's sometimes the hardest performance, is literally being yourself.
Wow.
Thank you for being here and being yourself with us today.
Yeah, of course. My pleasure.
You're so authentic and
My pleasure.
so like chill. You just feel like it's
You should,
really
you should
nice.
see what's going on inside. It's like,
It's a zoo in there.
yeah, it's a zoo in there, but I
So-
appreciate that. Yeah.
So what tips could you give to people that are wanting to get into acting? What kind of tips as far as, networking? How did you get your agent? How does that work
Networking,
for you?
I'd say don't be afraid to ask for help. If people don't know what you want, they will never know that you wanted help. You know what I mean? So, and not be the squeaky wheel, not be the annoying person who's like always leaning on people, but show people what you're doing. Show them what you're accomplishing. Shoot your own stuff. I mean, you've heard this for years probably, but truly now is the time where you can do it on your iPhone and it looks amazing. Right. Upload it, get views, do your thing. I mean, social media I think is a real double-edged sword. It's dangerous, it's addictive, it's kind of awful in many ways, but it's necessary. It's a necessary evil in the entertainment industry, and I think that's a great way for young actors to get out and put their work out there and put these little 1-minute clips on Instagram. Right. Get your views up. It's unbelievably important. I don't like it, but it is, and it's part of the business. But networking, ask for help. Ask your friends. Make sure to ask your peers who are successful, though. Don't go to the top. If you went to like a college, don't go find, you know, the head producer at Warner Brothers and ask him for help. But find someone who went to your college, went to Michigan, where I went, and who's a director, who's a young director, who's making indie films. Go there, network with those guys. Don't try and ask the people who have already made it, because they can't truly do anything for you. You don't have enough creds to jump to that stage at that level.
And they're inundated.
And they're inundated with, oh my God. And that's your question earlier, is how do you separate the real friends from the... You do. There a few fall away. You realize that some people are just around and they ask for help, and they're asking for help selfishly. And only now do they come out and ask you for help. They never were there for you when you were struggling in the car. Some of those people didn't give you a couch to sleep on. And now they're looking for that handout. And it's like, I remember you. I remember you. Yeah, so anyway.
So what's next for you, Daniel?
What is next for me? I would love to say a long run on this show. But when that, I've talked to the executive producer, Mal Young, incredible guy, British guy, really sweet. And I said, at some point, you're going to ask me to leave or I will quit. This is how it's going to go. It's just, there's only two ways to... And when that does happen, I hopefully find another wonderful TV show with such an amazing family that was as supportive as Young and the Restless has been, and CBS as a company, and Sony has been to me, so.
Young and the Restless, one of the most watched shows across the globe. So exciting to see you at Scott Granger. We've got a clip. Take a look.
At least let me pay for your drink, or drinks, if it's gonna be one of those evenings.
I don't need your charity. I have plenty of money, even if I am out of a job, which you know nothing about.
We had an agreement and I didn't follow through. You have every right to be upset. But I didn't go back on my word because I was trying to be selfish or trying to hurt you. I did it because I want to keep telling stories that matter to me, because I want to be able to change things in this world. And hashtag is the way that I can do that. It gives me a platform that I can fight injustice and inequality, to right the wrongs that people turn a blind eye to. And one injustice I'll never be able to fix is the way your family has treated you. For that, I'm truly sorry. I just wish things hadn't turned out this way.
You know what I said earlier about not being able to forgive and forget?
Yeah.
I take it back.
Is it just me being silly? Or does Abby have a thing for Scott?
I think the thing you're seeing is pure hate. She despises Scott.
I'm not so sure.
Well, if she does have any other feelings for him, I'll tell you what, she's in for a world of pain, because Scott is absolutely crazy about you.
Well, then maybe it's time that I show Scott how crazy I am about him.
What is a day on the set of Young and the Restless like for you?
Well, you get there first. I mean, hair and makeup. There's a pecking order. Let the ladies in the seat first,
Okay.
And then you get your hair and makeup done. Then you go down to your room and they do a quick blocking. It's called camera blocking. It's very brief. They literally drop you in. Oh, here's your mark. Here's what we're gonna pick up here. Which prop you're gonna deal with. And then you go back to your room and you start shooting at 8:35 on the dot. 8:35. And they shoot all day until we're done, and that's it. But that's how it starts. And you're in your room watching the monitor, seeing how the scenes are going. You watch the number. You get a 2-scene warning, and at that point you got to take care of yourself. It's a non-hand-holding set. You don't get walked to set. You don't get told come to your trailer. You just hear you have 2 scenes. Be ready. So when you're ready, you got to be there. And they give you a lot of respect. So they give you that sense of being an adult. You handle your own stuff, be on set on time, and they trust you. So.
And when you're not on set, you're also involved with Kind Traveler.
Kind Traveler, yeah. I'm an ambassador for this wonderful company. It's a give and get platform where when you travel, you stay at hotels. Everybody has to stay somewhere. And if you don't have friends in that country or city where you're going, you stay at a hotel, and hopefully you can stay at a Kind hotel, which Virgin, I think, was the first hotel that actually jumped on. And what it is they set up a platform, a website. You can put a profile in where whatever types of charities you like to give back to, PETA or whatever things you really are interested in, you can, Red Cross is one of their big ones. You give $10, a minimum of $10 to the charity, and then you unlock these massive discounts on the hotel.
Oh my
up to 20% off.
that.
So you end up saving money by giving to charity. Even if you give like 50 bucks, you'll still end up saving money on your stay.
Oh, absolutely. I'll travel Kind
they're
Traveler
incredible.
style.
KindTraveler.com is their website. Please check it out. They're a wonderful
Absolutely.
company.
Thanks for the tip on that.
My pleasure.
Right?
My pleasure. Yeah.
So, when
Mayweather's
you're not
opening
on
a
set,
Oh my God. Yeah.
you're boxing.
But boxing is a good way to get believe it or not, your blood pressure to go down. I think 'cause you get that out, and then you can you're like it's that same thing we were talking about. How you from tension you kind of can find even more ease in your body. And I had a little bit of high blood pressure, and I was talking about the holy basil, the herb. So I've been trying a lot of like acupuncture and things like more Eastern medicine. I feel like I don't want to take medication. I did as a kid. I had ADHD and all that, and so I tried medications, and it just you don't feel like yourself. So no, I mean nothing wrong with people who want to take it, and it helps them. Awesome, more empowering to you. But for me, it didn't work. So I'm trying to find ways to be more healthy as far as natural and homeopathic.
And do you feel like yourself now?
Most of the time, but I think that's why a lot of actors like acting is because it's nice to get out of your own skin. Because oftentimes that's when we're most uncomfortable is actually being ourselves. I think that's sometimes the hardest performance is literally being yourself.
Wow.
Thank you for being here and being yourself with us today.
Yeah, of course. My
You're
pleasure.
so authentic and
My pleasure.
so like chill. You just feel like it's
You
really
should
nice.
see what's going on inside. It's like,
It's a zoo in there.
yeah, it's a zoo in there, but I
So-
appreciate that. Yeah.
So what tips could you give to people that are wanting to get into acting? What kind of tips as far as networking? How did you get your agent? How does that work?
Networking,
For you?
I'd say don't be afraid to ask for help. If people don't know what you want, they will never know that you wanted help. You know what I mean? So, and not be the squeaky wheel, not be the annoying person who's like always leaning on people, but show people what you're doing. Show them what you're accomplishing. Shoot your own stuff. I mean, you've heard this for years probably, but truly now is the time where you can do it on your iPhone and it looks amazing.
Right.
Upload it, get views, do your thing. I mean, social media I think is a real double-edged sword. It's dangerous, it's addictive, it's kind of awful in many ways, but it's necessary. It's a necessary evil in the entertainment industry, and I think that's a great way for young actors to get out and put their work out there and put these little 1-minute clips on Instagram. Get your views up. It's unbelievably important. I don't like it, but it is, and it's part of the business. But networking, ask for help. Ask your friends. Make sure to ask your peers who are successful, though. Don't go to the top. If you went to like a college, don't go find the head producer at Warner Brothers and ask him for help. But find someone who went to your college, went to Michigan, where I went, and who's a young director who's making indie films. Go there, network with those guys. Don't try and ask the people who have already made it because they can't truly do anything for you. You don't have enough creds to jump to that stage at that level.
And they're inundated.
And they're inundated with, oh my God. And that's your question earlier, is how do you separate the real friends from the... You do. There a few fall away. You realize that some people are just around and they ask for help, and they're asking for help selfishly. And only now do they come out and ask you for help. They never were there for you when you were struggling in the car. Some of those people didn't give you a couch to sleep on. And now they're looking for that handout. And it's like, I remember you. I remember you. Yeah, so anyway.
So what's next for you, Daniel?
What is next for me? I would love to say a long run on this show. But when that, I've talked to the executive producer, Mal Young, incredible guy, British guy, really sweet. And I said, at some point, you're going to ask me to leave or I will quit. This is how it's going to go. It's just there's only two ways to... and when that does happen, I hopefully find another wonderful TV show with such an amazing family that was as supportive as Young and the Restless has been, and CBS as a company, and Sony has been to me. So I would like to work in a TV show that feels like a movie. So HBO stuff. Even like a Ray Donovan, I love that show. It's crazy, but it's fun. It's just fun and gritty, things like that. But film is my real genre that I'd like to drop into because you get to travel and shoot.
If they were going to reprise any role
Oh, good
And
Lord.
you could play. What would it be?
Oh man, if I could, I don't
Let's
think
manifest this destiny
sure.
for you right now.
Yeah, sure. Well, I would say Paul Newman in Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
Classic.
Rad.
But I don't think anyone can match what Paul Newman was.
Well, you don't have to match it. Just bring your own.
I know. I'll be my own, but it's
It's tough.
What
It's like
big
trying to
shoes.
sing like Whitney.
What big shoes? Exactly.
Yeah.
Good Lord. I don't think. I would love to emulate, and I want to touch on that. Paul Newman's always been somebody I wanted to sort of emulate and be like, as far as how much he gives back or gave back, and how much even after his life, his company still gives back all profits to, I think it's called the Hole in the Wall Gang, which he started when he was doing Butch Cassidy. That was the name of the bad guys in the movie. And he started this little charity back in the day. Now it's Newman's Own. It's like a multi-million-dollar charity every year.
What an extraordinary life.
That's what I would like to do. If I have that kind of success, I would love to be able to give back to that degree.
So
And
wonderful.
do that, yeah.
Well,
It gives you something selfless to do in such a selfish career.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Seemingly selfish.
I
yeah.
have no doubt that will happen for you.
Oh,
And
well,
I
thank
look
you.
forward to
I hope so.
celebrating you the day it does.
And you. This is incredible. Both of you guys.
It's
That was
wonderful to
awesome.
see you guys together.
It really
so
is.
beautiful, right?
Kidding me? I mean, from the Roosevelt to the seats of a movie television
It
set.
really wasn't easy, but it's great to have community and,
It
and
is.
friends
It is.
to be a part of it.
And I've
So-
kept in touch with a lot of those guys from the Roosevelt. Something
Oh, yeah,
about
we're
that
like
place.
family.
Yeah, Vince Madero, all those guys.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. Howard's back.
Howard Cole, he's back.
He is. Shout out Howard.
Howard was
Yeah.
our manager, general manager, I think he was
Yeah.
there. That's
Wow.
awesome.
Oh,
That's
well,
awesome.
thanks so much. How can people find
Thank
you
you.
on what's your handle again on Instagram?
And this camera here? Doesn't matter? Okay, it doesn't matter. So, yeah, this one here. It's at the original Daniel Hall is my Instagram handle, and Daniel13 Hall is my Twitter.
And then
that's
what
it.
time is the show on, just for people who've
The
never seen
show
it that
is
wanna
on
see you?
11:30 on CBS.
All right.
5 days a week, 250 episodes a year.
And how many years has it been on again, honey?
God, in the late 30s. I can't quite
Wow.
quote it
Right.
right now, but it's been 30,
One
way
of the
30 something. Yeah.
most watched shows on television today across
Yeah.
the globe.
Yeah, for over 20 years, we've been the #1 daytime show. So congrats
Wow.
to CBS
Yeah, right?
and congrats
Uh-huh.
to Young and the Restless.
Well, thank you
Absolutely.
so much for
Such a
coming on.
pleasure.
It's
Really
so
needed it,
awesome to meet
Thank
you.
you,
And
thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So great.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Here's
well,
to Butch Cassidy and the
That's
Sundance
right,
Cassidy.
that's right. So
Let's
stay
do
tuned,
it.
you guys. We'll
Stay
be right
tuned.
back.
Thank you for having me.
We are so excited to have my good friend, Lori Harder. Thank you so much for coming, Lori. So
Oh, I'm
appreciate it.
so excited to be here.
So happy you're
we
here.
get rosé in
Look
the
at
morning.
you.
I know. I know. This is the way she wakes up. Literally.
Right?
Yes.
Hey.
Yeah, exactly. So, author, transformational expert. I mean, you do it all. Podcast, 5 million downloads. You know, what are you most excited about right now?
Oh man, there's so many exciting things. I like to do a lot of different things. It keeps me, entertained in that creative. Like, I just need creativity to feel good. But most excited is probably the book because I just finished it, and I feel like I have been doing this for like 4 years.
Yeah.
I have so much work.
Oh my gosh, yes. And the editing can feel endless.
Congratulations.
Yeah, it's a
Thank
huge
you
deal.
so much. You just have to decide to cut it off at some point.
You do.
Or it could be like a lifelong
So
thing.
tell us about the book.
The book is called A Tribe Called Bliss, and it is based on developing tribes. It's for women, so it's based on developing tribes that support you through all phases of your life. So really learning to go deep instead of just all of the surface talk. And understanding how to create a sisterhood that not only supports what you want to do in your life, but also supports your personal growth. Because I believe you're only going to go as far as you're willing to grow. And if your tribe isn't willing to grow either, you're going to outgrow them. So how do you grow together and really go deep together?
Wow.
I feel like that's the total future of everything online. I know today is about dating, relationships, and whatever, but I don't want to go too deep into that, but I too believe that tribes it's the wave of the future. Like in social media and everything, the thought of having 1 million followers, I think, is out, in my opinion. I think it's about building a very, very strong community, so I can't wait to read your book. Incredible.
I'm really excited.
It's all about building those relationships in your community, whether beyond romantic relationships, but your sisterhood. Who's in your tribe?
Oh, I have a lot of different tribes now because the reason that it started is because originally I was raised in a really strict religion, and once I basically left that tribe, I didn't have anyone because I never built anything outside of that. I was never allowed to.
When did you leave your tribe? That tribe?
Yeah, when I was about 18 years old. So after being out of that, it was like I had nobody and completely alone for the most part. So at that point in my life, I realized that you need people, and you need a lot of different people, because as you're growing and as your beliefs change, how do you have those people through the transitions in your life to make sure that you're being supported?
So powerful. And I love this discussion around the tribe thing. I think sometimes it's very valued because a tribe and having close personal relationships sometimes prevents you from getting into relationships simply from a place of loneliness.
Yes.
I mean,
absolutely.
I've seen that, had that experience myself, and I've noticed other people have that experience. You know, you get into a relationship simply because you're lonely, and then it ends up being the wrong relationship, and you just take from the other person. Yeah.
So speaking of, you're married. We hear that you have a pretty great marriage.
I do, and it's been a lot of work. So
How did you meet your husband?
we met at the gym, where you meet all
Where you
great
met
people.
I received that compliment.
Which gym is this?
Yeah.
I'm looking for
You
a
come
new
through.
one for New Year's.
Come through, Erin. I got you. We got you. Yes. It is. It really is.
Because you're there in the morning, you're working out, you know what their priorities are.
Yeah.
Like, it's fantastic. So, but yeah, we met in the gym in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Tiny little town.
Wow.
Yeah, go Packers.
Okay, sorry, I'm not moving there. So that's
No,
okay.
don't go there. I moved away. Just kidding. I love you. Yeah, but we met in the gym, and honestly, at first we were not. I wasn't interested. I was I was 21 years old. I was in a really funky place in my life. I had just moved back in with my parents, which I swore I would never do. So I really, and I was getting out of another relationship, and I wanted nothing to do with relationships at that moment. So the poor guy comes up to me, and he was actually, because it's such a small town, you guys, it was like a new woman was there. And he was the third guy that came up. That has never happened to me before, ever. And the one right before him, his name was Jake, but it was tattooed on his arm. And he was like, hey, my name's Jake. And poor Chris comes up right after Jake. And he's just like, I gotta go. Yeah.
Oh no! Isn't that what happens though when someone does not want a relationship? They're like, I'm never ever gonna be in a relationship.
Totally.
What convinced you to leave the I don't want this relationship space and pursue something with him?
You know, he was really persistent, thank God. But at the time, he was willing to just stick around and be friends. And at the time, that's exactly what I needed. And we had fun. Like, we just hung out and laughed. And for me, looking back, the biggest thing for me is I want to have fun and I want to laugh in all of my relationships. It's my top actual feeling that I choose. It's fun and laughing. So looking back, it was like that was the one thing with him that always came through is for the rest of my life, I want to have fun and I want to laugh. And that it was like probably 6 months of just friendship where I was not interested. And one day it just hit me like a lightning bolt. We were actually at a buffet.
That's usually when you have lightning bolts insights.
Fall in love.
Totally.
And I was sitting across from him and we were like snorting laughing. And it was like this lightning bolt and I was like, oh my God, like I got nervous because all of a sudden it felt like a shift. And I was like, is it the General Chow's chicken or what is it?
Like, what was in that?
Is this bad chicken?
Yeah.
Or what's going on?
What was in that moose?
But all of a sudden, because I think it was just that realization of what I was going for because I was really, kind of, you're 21, right? I'm into that bad boy phase. I wanted like that athlete, artsy, edgy snowboarder guy that I had gone for before, which just was not working for me. And all of a sudden I was just having the best time of my life and it was easy. Wow. So things just shifted like, wow, I'm actually falling in love for a completely different reason.
That's incredible.
But I do have a question because I'm sure it hasn't always been easy in this relationship.
Oh God, no.
So how do you get back to the have fun, let's laugh? Because it's not always fun.
I think when you have a solid connection like that, when you know it's possible, you need to be committed to the idea. And the thing about Chris and I is we have always communicated. Something about that, well, actually I know what it is. He's always made me communicate. So I have learned, because what I used to do in relationships is when they would go awry or we'd fight, I would leave. Really great way to solve things, right?
Absolutely. I'm with you. I do the same thing.
I'd be like, I'm out of here, whatever,
Deuces,
I'm
I'm out.
driving away.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And that solves nothing. It only lets you stew, obviously, and lets you be like, go back to your old default, which mine was, I'm better alone, I'm fine alone, I'm strong, I can do this, I can handle this, I've been alone before. But it wasn't working for me. The things we say are working are actually the things that are like holding us back from where we need to go. So for him, it was one time he goes, if you walk out that door, if you leave this conversation, don't bother coming back because we are not communicating. Like this isn't working for us.
It's so interesting because, traditionally, it's often worked the other way.
Yeah.
You know, generally men communicate less.
Yes.
And you know, and women tend to communicate more, and that's something that I work with clients on. It's so interesting to hear it the other way around. Were you always a communicator? Is that something that you? I mean, always not a communicator. I
was always not a communicator. I was very much like, I wanted to keep the peace in my family, so I just really kept everything to myself. And he was basically raised by his mother. I mean, his father was there, but he was traveling all the time. So his mom is like the biggest communicator. So they would just go on these long car rides all the time and just talk and talk and
And
talk
now you are a professional communicator.
Yeah.
You've got podcasts. Like, you went from walking away to like, let me tell the world.
Yes.
You know, it's because we teach what we need the most, for sure. So I went from not communicating at all to learning what it actually looks like to start communicating, so I can teach on what this is going to look like doing it, because it's not going to be fun. It's going to feel like an inner temper tantrum, like whenever you sit down and someone wants to communicate with you, you're like, no. Because that's what you do, you know? So really communicating, though, it's amazing what happens when you can start to learn each other's communication styles. And I heard you guys talking about that over there, and I loved it, because once we understood what the styles were and what the other one needs, and that I might need a little bit of space and I might need a few questions to start getting into it, and that is just my default of protection, of running away. It's not even something with him, right? It's never something with them. It's always something with us. So really learning to give each other that space and time, and then that time to communicate as well.
Wow.
So for him and I, it'll be, I mean, we just got in a fight yesterday. It was fantastic.
Was it really fantastic?
Now that you have the tools, you're like, bring it on, bring it on.
You know what though? We work together too. So we have Monday like team meetings as well. And yesterday was kind of more of our Monday, because we're getting back into work after the holiday. And I think that we were both just like, because we both have these passions, obviously, and he does more of the numbers and business end, and I'm more like wanting to lead from my heart. And for him, it's like, what's the numbers? How many people? What's going on? And I'm like, I am not going to be able to do what I do if I am thinking about the number of people. So we'll often like have these little fires, but I always say a bunch of little fires are better than like a raging, you know, explosion.
Yeah.
So if you can view it that way, like it's just two passionate people coming together, as long as you don't leave it. So for us, we do walks at the end of almost every single night. And they're about 60 minutes. We go walk our giant golden doodle dog named Waffles.
Yeah, Waffles is a surprising human. You have no idea.
And
Really.
she's therapy as well, because you can talk through her. Like you can, you know, you can say what.
It's kind of wild, actually.
Yeah, Waffles thinks this about you right now.
Yeah.
But do you really feel like that physical activity of just like walking and getting out of your workspace or your home helps you in that?
Yes. You know, the top three things I believe are growth, communication, and play. And as far as communication goes, you need to understand that you're not going to communicate right away. Like, you almost need to physically move it through your body. So, you know we all go to the gym, we all go work out, and it's like you don't even feel like yourself until the first 20, 30 minutes of moving, and your brain starts to get a different perspective.
Yeah. Right.
You know, you start to feel differently about how you felt inside of your home or having that argument. It's like, change your environment and go move your body, because you are going to gain such a different perspective. I don't remember which president it was, but whenever he would have a big decision that he would have to make, or when he would have someone come in for a meeting, they would go around, because that was the only way they make decisions.
I mean, even for me, just walking down the street, like, I didn't realize this, but it does help me clear my mind. Even in like communication or fighting in relationships, it's like, I need to get out of here and take a walk for a second, just to like.
I want to hear more about. We actually have to take a break, but I couldn't agree more. Being external versus internal in our mind chatter, in the total entanglement of whatever emotions are going on. Getting external, going out is so wonderful. When we come back, what I really want to hear, I want to hear also a little bit more about this, and I want to hear also about your 3 tips to your success, really breaking it down for everyone. So stay tuned, you guys. We will be right back.
In LaLa Land, I'm Dr. Erin.
I'm Rob Mack.
And I'm Jasmine Moyer. Monday through Friday, we are going to be streaming to you live, Los Angeles.
America's first live streaming daily talk show.
At 9 a.m. Pacific time on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube.
And we have a sexy show for you today.
We have got Will, Leanne, and Gabe in the house. Let's go back there. Hi!
Talked to 4 beautiful, intelligent, conscious women. Clearly, I was miserable the entire time.
She has a TV show similar to your guys.
Ellen.
Yes!
Yes!
The little peck. Come on.
I feel so bad for Jess.
We're live for the people viewing.
For the people.
Wow!
MICKEYMOUSC Club Mickey Mouse on Good Morning La-La Land.
We are streaming to you live Monday through Friday on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Happy holidays.
It's going to be a good
morning, La La Land.
5, 6, 7, 8. We are the Mouseketeers, and we proudly wear our ears. We mousin', we mousin', MICKEYMOUSC Club Mickey Mouse. Good morning, La La Land.
Back on Good Morning La La Land with some Friday feels, and I want to give a special shout out to Leonie Candelli for this fabulous candle. We're talking romance and relationships, and it's very sensual, isn't it?
It's absolutely gorgeous.
500 hours. Burns for 500 hours.
500 hours.
Longer than most of my relationships. By far.
What's it tell? You're like,
By about 499 hours.
Well, supposedly this might help those relationships because it releases these negative ions that cleans and detoxes the air. It's all natural. It's beeswax. So maybe Rob needs to take this.
That's
home.
I do. Yeah. Just pour it over myself. Is that what I need to do? Pour the hot wax all over myself. All right. Yeah.
So, Lauren, we were talking before about 3 tips. I mean, you have a great relationship with your husband. Clearly, you have done a lot of work, and we want to know your 3 kind of secrets.
Okay, so there's 3, but there's a lot of different things under the 3. So growth, communication, and play. And I really think growth is the number 1 because you are only going to grow as far as you're both willing to go. So in a relationship, it's never about how you are, if you're reliant on the other person or what that person is giving to you. It is simply about all people coming together in order to create an incredible relationship. So as far as growth, Chris and I have committed to always personally growing. So I'm always working on myself. He's always working on himself. And that's just an agreement in the relationship. And when I say growth, it's really about knowing that you both have that agreement to grow together. So to grow separately and also together.
So it's not like Tom Cruise, like you complete me, that whole thing.
No. Jerry Maguire complex, baby, no?
You complete me, oh my gosh.
But I think
Sounds
it's
so
really
nice.
beautiful what you said, though, that you've made the commitment and agreed to grow separately, but you're also growing together. Because so many times in relationships, you grow separately and you grow apart. But you're making a conscious effort to grow together.
Yes.
And it's interesting. I often wonder if it's that people grow apart or they just go apart. I'm not sure they're growing. I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm interested to find that out. But
I do think that you can, because I see a lot of, especially with friends in the personal development arena, we have a lot of different couple friends, and some are growing together and some are growing apart. But the ones that I see are kind of growing apart. One has either decided not to do anything while the other they're in this growth trajectory.
Oh, interesting.
Or they're both growing, but one's going in a really, maybe I have a friend who's a super spiritual yogi, but the other one is very just business and like a different style. So I do think that you either are, and I also believe in, kind of like soul contracts. So maybe they fulfilled their contract within what they were meant to do for each other. So, but always coming back to check in with each other.
Agreed.
So that's what our walks are, is kind of those check-ins, like where are you you at? How you feeling? Like, I know that I want to do, you know, with Chris and I, it was like, I know I want to do ballroom dancing. I knew I wanted to do that. I would love for you to come with me and do some classes with me. Are you willing to grow with me in this area? Because I do think this is an area where I'm going to want to spend a lot of time
You
in.
will do so well. You have the body for it. It's
We
a
did it.
beautiful dance.
Thank you. We did
gorgeous
it.
dance, yeah.
But it was like, it was that communication of, do you want to go here with me? This is really important to me. And then him saying, how important is it? Like, am I going to miss out on it? Yeah, really. He's like, do I really have to wear that leotard? And I was like, yeah.
Chris can pull it off.
No, but I mean, which brings you to, you know, the third tip of play. I mean, then you were dancing together, you're playing together.
Yes. Playing is so vital because when you play, you tap into a part of yourself that basically, okay, so a long time ago, I heard this book. It was called How to Cheat on Your Husband with Your Husband.
Oh,
We love her. Yeah.
Just
So
last
I
week.
love that concept because what's happening is you're both becoming new when you're playing. You're becoming like two different types of people, and it's this side that you don't get to see in the monotony of life. Even if your life is great, you're still doing the same thing every single day, over and over. For the most part, you fall into these same rituals, and play is like this space with no boundaries, no real rules, and you're getting excited again.
Well,
you know, by that person.
Andrea Sertash, who wrote that book, she also said you have to be your vacation self.
Yeah, totally.
And that's so interesting because typically in my real life, I'm not my vacation self. And you play so much differently if you go into that space. Then you could actually cheat on your husband with your husband.
Right. Jeff's vacation self is right here. The champagne, that's what champagne is for.
Put down the coffee, get the champagne.
Andrea's really brilliant woman. I love
shout out to
many,
Andrea
many
Sertash.
books, right?
Yeah,
Shout out,
fantastic.
for sure.
And what I love, one of the things I love about what you just said, and I love countless things that you said, but one of the things I love most is that we often think about growth as always being painful. And I think I think what you're saying there to a large extent is that growth can be playful and it can be enjoyable, and it is all intended to make for a happier life, both personally and professionally, in all ways. And so growth, the end goal of growth is increasing happiness.
Yes.
Right? So, and you talk about that a lot in the podcast too, right? Earn Your Happy.
Yes.
Yeah. So can you talk to us a little bit about what sort of how the podcast started and what do you sort of cover there?
Yeah, 5 million downloads. Hello.
Yeah.
So
Where did this
ridiculous.
all start? Where did this all start for you?
You know what? It literally started because it was a super selfish thing. I was at home, and when I say selfish, you'll see what I mean, but I was at home. I found myself doing a lot of the same stuff. So even though I'm an entrepreneur who has a lot of things going on, it can fall into the same routine. And I realized that working from home and not seeing a lot of people, I wanted to have more rich, in-depth conversations and have access to these people who just light my brain up. And I was like, how am I going to do, like, how is this person going to want to talk to me for an hour? I was like, a podcast. So, you know, what a great excuse. So I get on people who just, it's either been a book that I love or just something that has just shared and changed my life. And we have conversations about things that I think people aren't necessarily talking about. So uncomfortable stuff, the growth stuff, where things fall apart, that you do have to earn your happiness every single day, that most people aren't innately happy. And that it's a choice, something that you have to grow into and you have to choose for your daily life and you have to wake up to it and think about it. So most people who are the happiest in the world have gone through the biggest struggles. And the thing about the happy people who've gone through the struggles is they're typically not sharing them because they're happy. So people look at it and say, oh, they have a charmed life.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, they're so blessed.
So
And it's
true.
like they probably have underneath just so many, you know, hardships that they've gone through.
That's so interesting because I just tripped. One day. I just tripped and I literally was like, oh wow, I feel happy. That's really, that was it. I
Right.
just
When I
tripped.
started being real happy and fulfilled, and I would go speak, and people would say, you need to tell more relatable stories and tell about your hard times. Like, well, I'm over that stuff. You know what I mean?
Totally.
So I had to come back down to
Yeah.
getting to the transition. And it's so, I'm sure that's what you.
Yeah, and props to you for doing that because honestly, that's the hard part because happy people don't want to go back into the dirt, right? We don't want to go back into the muck. And I think that's whenever I get on a stage, I'm like, oh my God, I have to go there.
I know, right?
Because you don't want to, but that's the warrior work is being able to go back and feel it and write that book and get into the feelings and get back to that place that brought you to the high to share that journey. And I
So
think
how did
that's-
you earn your happy, Lori?
Oh, so many different ways. But, you know, it's really learning about what those rituals are and what the setup is to what is the mindset of the people who are the happiest. And it's really waking up for me every single day and choosing it and having the I get to do that attitude instead of I have to do that. And really looking at all the things in your life as there was a day that I once wished to be this busy. There was a day that I once wish I had all these emails. There was a day that I wish that these people were asking me to do all these extra things. And then also learning that part of happiness is having really fierce boundaries and also letting go of people,
True.
you know?
Very true.
Yeah,
Talk a little
sometimes
bit
that's the
more
hardest
about
part.
that. So, and what do you mean by boundaries?
Boundaries.
Yeah.
Boundaries are probably one of the toughest things for people and also women, because a lot of us have been raised, if you're in your 30s, 40s, 50s, to people please. And that's how we get love, right? It's like the more I say yes to you, the more you're going to love me. And if I say no to you, that might mean that you don't love me anymore or you don't need me. So boundaries are huge. Like the second you start saying no to make room for your yeses, it's like that's the moment that you start to think, people might not love me. I might not be liked. I might not be asked to this party again if I don't bring those cupcakes or...
Absolutely. That resonates with me
Yeah.
so deeply. I'm classically overcommitted in my
Yes.
life because if I have an hour of free time and somebody says, oh, can you do this? Yes. I was taught you just say yes. You do it.
So I'm going to challenge you to think, do you like this?
Yeah. Tee it up, Lori. The coaching coming through right now. Brace yourself, Jessamine. Brace yourself.
So think of your ultimate relationships in your life. And I'm going to challenge you just to think about if you showed up more you, fully recharged, fully 100% in your essence because you are rested, you've done the things that like feed your soul and fuel who you are. Like imagine how those will grow and how those will flourish if you set those boundaries on all of those little things that aren't actually aligned, you know?
So how do you get over the guilt of doing that for yourself?
Talking to a lot, so the podcasting has helped me with this, with talking to so many people to know that guilt is a part of it. And like forgiving that guilt and saying, no, this is for a higher purpose. Like always aligning back up, right, with that higher purpose. So having literally writing out like maybe a statement of what your highest purpose is for yourself, which will trickle into your relationships. And always with every single decision, going back to that question, does this match that?
But what if it's somebody asking for help? Right? How do you keep that boundary?
So you can't, sometimes you have to realize that those people are either not meant to get help or meant to get help from you. Because the biggest, it's like robbing someone of their rock bottom, right? So they need to go through whatever they need to go through. And especially if it's a serial person who asks for help, right? You can look at kind of who is asking for help. Is it, your soul will know if you actually say, am I meant to help this person? Or is this somebody who's probably not going to take the help? So ask yourself a few questions. Is this person actually going to take this help? Can they get help any other way? Do they need to go through this on their own? And letting that be. Because a lot of times we take it on, right?
Guilt. Yeah, absolutely. You take it on and then you have no more time or energy left for yourself.
Right. And then you can get resentful if they don't
Oh,
take.
hell yeah.
So then you're like,
You're angry, you're resentful, which doesn't help anybody because then you're helping them and you're mad about
oh yeah,
it.
I went through like a huge resentful stage. I was, and I would just keep helping the same people. And I was like, so actually I started looking at it and I was like, I'm getting like hits, like dopamine hits off of helping people who I know aren't using this help. So then it became really looking at me and saying, I'm addicted to almost like abusing myself, like to draining myself. I'm addicted to the stress. I'm addicted to almost this martyrdom of I help everyone except I'm dying.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah. So on that note, I think there's probably a lot of people out there that want your help, and we're running out of time, unfortunately, guys. So I want to like go on with this whole thing. How can they find you? How can they learn more about your podcast, your husband's podcast?
Best project.
How can they begin to have these conversations? Because it really is just a conversation, right? The epiphanies that are happening right here, people can have every day by tuning into your podcast.
Thank you so much. The podcast is earnyourhappy.com, so you can go there and download. My husband's is fortheloveofmoney.com, and that is really about revamping your money mindset, because if you want to do anything with passion in the world and you want to put your message out there and help people, you have to have the money to do it, right? So that's really resetting your money mindset. And then I also have an event that is called The Bliss Project, so that is theblissproject.info, and that is a weekend weekend dedicated to women who want to shift their life in 3 days, really.
Wow.
Sign me up.
Love that.
Yes, yeah, no, seriously, I would love to come and talk about that and like bring you back on and what the journey is all about and share and connect
I would
with the
love
other
that.
women.
Be wonderful.
that would
okay,
be awesome.
Thank you so much for
Oh,
all your
thank
time.
you guys. You're all
so much.
amazing. I could
Such a
talk to you all day.
gorgeous, true beauty inside and out. And looking forward to meeting your husband. Looking forward to a journey all together. Just we want to discover more and more about your whole thing because it's very, very impressible. Very impressive. Yes. So
That's a new word. I like it.
we have to go right now, but we're going to come back. When we come back, we're going to do a little recap of the last month. We have an epic month and taking us into the new year. So stay tuned, you guys.
What an incredible group of guests. I mean, a beauty queen that is breaking boundaries and boards, Lillian Garcia chasing glory. I mean, really a highlight reel.
I feel turned up. I thought at the beginning of the show I felt turned up, but I feel so inspired and so motivated. It's amazing. I mean, it really is such a blessing to get those kinds of folks in here and have those kinds of deep conversations.
Right, and Daniel Hall. I mean, seriously, one of the most down to earth. You never think from a soap opera. You think. I thought, oh, he's going to be full of himself. He's going to be like, drama. No, he's like the most down to earth human being.
And I just love that when these guests come through our doors, they are real, they are raw, they are authentic. They're really sharing the crossroads in their lives, their trials, their tribulations, and being honest with it.
Yeah.
That's what's really makes them relatable.
Yeah, and they each have a story. You see them, they show up, they're so attractive, they're intelligent, they're successful, and you just expect they've been that way always. But when they start to share their story, you realize they've had failures, they wanted to give up, they've had really low moments, and they found a way out of all of that to get where they are today. And so that's what motivates me the most.
Right. Thinking back just real quick, what kind of inspired this talk show, and remembering back, even Oprah, when she began her talk show, she talked to real, they didn't have any celebrities on. And these people, even today, these are they have huge communities around them, but still they're almost they're in between where I feel like I can still relate to them on a human level versus some highlighted celebrity that I can't even relate to it. You know what I mean? So they're still so human in my eyes.
It's interesting you say that. We have had Dr. Devasula on a couple of times, and of course she's close friends with Ellen Rankin, who produced the Oprah show for 23 years. And one of the things that Dr. Devasula says often is that most success stories are post-produced. They're edited versions. You just get this little version where basically, I tried real hard, I worked real hard, and things just worked out for me.
Overnight.
Yeah, and it sounds wow, that's not been my story at all. It's been ups and downs, and when you talk to these guests, you get the experience of what they really went through, and that's what I love the most about
Completely,
our guests.
so much so. So tomorrow we've got a great show also on Transformation Tuesday. We've got more things all week, interviews of inspirational guests in our family here at Focus TV and Good Morning LaLa.
Absolutely. Tomorrow we have Joyce Gerard on the show. We have Ellen Rakuten. It is going to be a great Tuesday.
Right? So have a great Monday, you guys. We'll talk to you tomorrow.